Okay, so we recorded you obviously a few weeks ago now, and we haven't had a chance to kind of review it. So this is the first chance we've had to look at the footage. Have you seen yourself swim on video before?
No.
Okay. What do you think we're going to see? What do you think's your main? What do you think's holding you back?
My
from-
legs. I think
Yeah?
I feel my legs will be dragging.
Okay.
I hope this was a few weeks ago, so
Yeah.
it'd be interesting to do an updated version.
Okay.
It feels slightly different in the water now, but
Okay.
yeah, I think my legs dragging, my head probably too high in the water.
Yeah.
Low arms. Video nasty, really. I think I feel a lot of faults.
Well, to be fair, the videos show faults on everybody.
Everyone, I'm
So
sure they do.
yeah, there's the kind of nowhere to hide almost with this kind
Yeah.
of thing. Okay. Yeah. So legs. Yeah, you think you'd be right with the legs. We'll
Yeah.
start to play it back through,
Yeah.
and I'll explain one of the reasons why your legs are dropping as we kind of go. Okay. So. The first thing I look for, kind of the poolside view, is the height that you lift your head in the water.
Yeah.
Now, you talked about your legs dropping down. Now,
Yeah.
that's
Incredibly high, isn't it?
yeah. So that's kind of number one thing that we have to look at is getting that head down low. You know, in the squadron we've done Popeye breathing and
Yeah.
split vision breathing, where
Yeah.
one goggle in, one goggle out. How do you find that when you do that?
Okay, now I'm finding I'm doing it
A bit better.
a bit better.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
still quite it's good training actually technique because I feel I'm trying consciously to keep on goggling when I think about it.
Yes, and that's the beauty of doing things over and over again. Is it kind of starts to you think about it more regularly, and it starts to get a bit more ingrained. So I'm just going to put this on here. So again, for the recording, so you've got a copy of this to take away. And it's always good to visualise what we're trying to achieve. Now, just quickly play this through, just so as you can see what the head position should look like.
Yeah. It's almost flat, isn't it?
Exactly. That's a really good point, because ultimately what we're doing is we're rotating around the central point, so the head becomes an extension of the spine almost. So it doesn't. Whereas your head
I'm lifting.
Exactly. Yeah.
He's not lifting, he's turning.
Yeah. So if we play
Look,
that
this is
through.
both my goggles completely.
Yeah.
You can only see one of those.
So we can already see, we'll have a look under the water in a moment, but we can already see your spine will be travelling kind of down this direction.
Yeah.
So, and then your head is up,
Yeah.
okay? Whereas this is Paul from Swim Smooth, he's the guy that kind of started Swim Smooth. And his spine will be running up from his belly button, and it's all in alignment, yeah? So that's what we're trying to achieve. Now, part of it is being aware of it and practicing the kind of the Popeye breathing. You see how his mouth is kind of squidged over to one side like Popeye chewing his spinach.
Yeah.
So that's the Popeye breathing. Now, what happens when you keep your head down low is a little bow wave forms around the head here,
Yeah.
and that kind of drops down along the face and then creates a little trough for you to breathe in. So keeping your head low, kind of counterintuitive almost. It provides you a little bit more space to breathe because the bow wave appears. Okay? The bow wave that gives you that space. Now what you do is get rid of Paul for a second. Lifting the head, of course, doesn't give the bow wave chance to appear. Crashed again. Good. It's got a habit of crashing quite frequently, this thing, unfortunately. Sorry about that, Sally. Back where you were. So there's no opportunity there for the bow wave to form. Now, there is a reason for you feeling the need to lift the head like that, which we'll come on to in a second. Okay? So we're aware that we need to try and keep the head down and keep the head in alignment with the spine, so it all rotates as one. Okay, so we'll come back to that. I'll have a look into the water now, and there we see our so there we see. So if we draw a line on the surface of the water there, so you're actually kind of down at this level. You can see I'm not sure who that is behind. I think that's Alan Coley Smith. and you can see the
How
blade.
flat he is,
Yeah,
yeah.
see how he'll probably go past you, and you can see his position. Oh, it's not. It's Rich Shepherd. So he's the fastest in the squad. He's got a pull boy, to be fair, so it's giving him a bit of help. But you can see how flat he is to the surface there. Now, I mentioned one of the reasons that you'll... In fact, I'll cover this first of all, and then we'll kind of come back to this, because this is linked to the head position as well. The position of the body and the way the body lies in the water is hugely affected by where the head is and where the head is looking, where you're looking in the water. So if you look at your eyes, if you look at your goggle line, you are looking that way. Okay. Now, what that does is, again, it creates a natural tendency for the body to drop down because you're lifting the head to look forward. Now, what I would recommend you do is spend some time working on your head position and actually seeing how it feels to look straight down, look a little bit further down, because looking down, straight down, will naturally cause the body to lift and the legs to lift a little bit. Okay, just simply changing the head position is sometimes enough to make that happen. Okay, so we've already got, keeping the head down low and returning to breathe, and then looking further down when we're actually facing the water. Those two things are already going to start changing your body position. Just simple changes. Okay, and they're just things you just need to be aware of and start to tune into. Okay, now the reason you're feeling the need to lift your head that high, you see you're breathing there, and see what happens to your body when you breathe. Is it almost kind of sinks a little bit lower.
And it's just a break, isn't it? I feel that when I do, just break, and here we go, and we break and go.
Yeah. So what's actually happening here is, because you're not getting the support of the lead arm here. Now, if you watch your whole body, as I plays this through, the lead arm is pushing straight down and is slipping down through the water. And as it does so, if you look at your body position, you sink down this way too. Because what's happening is you're not getting any kind of purchase on the water, so you're losing any kind of any support, and it's causing you to decelerate. You're losing momentum on speed. So if you lose speed in the water, you do start to sink. Now, this is something we really need to look at, is why this lead hand is slipping and what we can do about it. What the lead arm should look like this is John O'Van Hazel. This is who Swim Smooth is based on. The kind of, I don't know if you've seen the Swim Smooth animation. I'll show you in a second.
And who's he?
So he's John O'Van Hazel is an ex-Olympian. Well, still, I think once you're an Olympian, you're always an Olympian. So he speaks to the Olympians. No, I don't know. I think he may be Dutch. I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. So if I have a look at his stroke. So this is deemed to be the kind of the smoothest stroke you can get almost. So this is something good to kind of model yourself on and have a look at how he moves through the water. So what I'm looking for in particular here is, see how straight he is first of all? Everything should be going in the direction of travel. Okay? What I'm really trying to show you here is when he breathes, he will breathe eventually. There we go. He's breathing at that point. Yeah. So he's still straight. I mean, he's got a huge amount of flexibility, so he can keep his arm very close to the surface of the water. I'm not expecting you to do that, but the point I'm trying to make here is that his arm is staying high when he's breathing. Whereas if we look at you when you breathe, and we'll show it from above in a second. When you breathe, So you're already
As soon as my
starting to
head's
lift
up, my
up,
arms
so
go
the legs drop, and then that arm is just sinking down. Okay, so at that point in the stroke, you've got nothing holding you up. Yeah, you've got nothing holding you up. So again, you lose momentum and you start to sink down. You know.
So am I not breathing early enough? Because obviously, it's all quite, this is in slow motion, it's quite quick when it's happening.
Yeah.
So should I be breathing as my arm goes down?
Yeah. So
am I actually breathing, my arm seems to be already on the way down because probably because my head was up?
Don't worry too much about, I don't want you to think about the timing of your breathing because that can get a little bit confusing.
Right.
All I want you to work on is, and I'll show you some drills in a second, is learning to breathe while that arm is high. So keeping that arm high. And again, in the squad, and I'll show you this, we've done kicking on the side in 616 and things like that. I'll put that on here so you can see what it actually looks like. Okay? And that is a perfect drill for you. But it's a case of doing it and me feeding it back to you while you're doing it. Because sometimes in the squad, because of the nature of the squad and there's so many people swimming in there, I can't give people perfect, individual feedback and get them all holding it. Exactly. So you might not be holding quite the right kind of position and shape in the water. So I'll keep a much closer eye on you next time we kind of go through that. So if I So if I put kicking on the side on here, so Paul pushes off the wall, nice torpedo position like we talk about in the squad, always starting with a push off from the wall. Now this is a really good drill for you for a number of reasons. So first of all, it gets you to practice being nice and in alignment, so that arm nice and straight. I'll show you from above in a second. But what I'm really interested in here is Paul turning to breathe and that arm staying high. Okay, you need to get used to the sensation of that arm remaining high when you turn to take the breath. Takes the breath, head back in. Now what I really like about this for you is, one other thing I've noticed with you is you're holding your breath. I don't know if you realise you're kind of doing that. I'll have a closer look at that in a second. So when you're practicing this drill, not only can you practice holding a nice straight position, keeping that lead arm high when you're turning to breathe, but if you look at Paul's mouth there, see what's coming out of his mouth? Constant steady stream of bubbles. So he's breathing in and he's putting his head in and he's constantly exhaling. Alright. So he's practicing a number of things all in one go here. Again, nice and straight. Takes a breath, lead arm stays high. And again from above. You see that middle finger, talk about the middle finger going in the direction, wrong way around. Going in the direction of travel. Shoulder blades back, nice and straight, and there's the breath. So if we can get you used to doing that, with the fins on, staying nice and high in the water, we need to get you some long fins.
I like them. I keep meaning, I forget every time I finish on a Wednesday, and I don't really think about it till Monday.
It would make a huge amount of difference to you doing the drills. It really will.
And they're happy with fins in the pool for practicing. I mean, when I come on like today.
It's a bit hit and miss.
So,
most of the time, if I come in a public session, I kind of get on with it, and every now and again they'll kind of shout at me, but most of the time they don't say anything. So I would just.
I've got some paddles. I've been using my paddles. They've been fine with those, but fins obviously are just a bit longer, aren't they?
I don't know if they've been told to kind of ignore it a little bit, because very lately I've noticed that they very rarely say anything now. So
sorry, I want the longer fins rather than the shorter.
The longer fins, yeah. I mean, I've got some at home. If you want me to bring some in for you, I think they're 18 pounds.
Okay, yeah.
So
I'm a size 5.
Okay, well have a look, see what I've got, and I've probably got some you can have. So they're the specific fins that we try and use, the longer ones. Okay, so if we have a look at you from above here, Now, this is where we are, look. So we're going to be trying to keep our head down in the water, as in kind of lying a little bit flatter in the water, one goggle in, one goggle out. What I'm really looking at here, is what happens when you take the breath. Look at that lead arm, it's gone. Okay. Now you should always have what we call front quadrant swimming. You should always have a hand in front of the head here.
Right. So that's when you do that catch up.
Yeah. So again, if we quickly show you. So
it is smooth.
It is so smooth. Yeah. If I just play that for a second, if you kind of look at his head, imagine balancing a glass of wine in the back of his head or something.
Yeah.
It's just so
and
static.
He seems to be doing. Oh, I do want to say, Bobby, always stretch it back. Stretch it.
Yeah.
It's extra. It's going extra, isn't it?
Yeah.
Extra bits.
Yeah. Yeah. So super smooth, super rhythmical.
Can you just stop when he puts his hand? How does he find what to go into it? Does it go in?
Yeah, so it spears in straight. Spears in over the top straight. So the hand enters the water in front of the shoulder and then extends in front of the shoulder.
Yeah,
so everything's in alignment, and then it pulls back through underneath the shoulder, underneath the water. So it's always in alignment. So what I'm trying to show you here is that there's always a hand in front of the head. There's no time where we've got no support here. So again, as you can see, this is going to help us practice getting that lead arm, keeping that lead arm there in front of the head. Okay? And then once we've done that, when we've got that nailed, we'll progress on to 616, which again, it's predominantly kicking on the side drill. Same thing, practicing keeping that lead arm high, and then bring the recovering arm over the top, so nice and straight, spearing in. So he's almost developing a bit of a catch up there. You know how we get you to swim with the tube sometimes? That's something we can also work on. I know you don't like that very well, but you'll find
traumatised with that tube.
Yeah, you'll find it much better once you practice it, and especially with the longer fins on, you get a bit of propulsion. So, good strong stroke onto the other side, and then holding position again. Okay, and you can see he takes a breath immediately after the stroke. Back into 6-1, back into kicking on the side again. So if I just play this at normal speed. Takes a stroke, takes a breath. So he always takes a breath immediately after the stroke. Okay. And again, you can see his constant exhalation.
I suspect I'm better at that now. I feel that I am.
Okay, all right.
You might not think so, I don't know, but I certainly feel that I'm always breathing out now.
It's one of those things where it's very difficult to see without the video, because what you do is you breathe out quite late. So you're not completely holding your breath, and when you turn to breathe, you're not breathing out and in at the same time. What you're doing is, as you start, your brain starts to think, I'm about to breathe, and you're turning, you breathe out at the last second, and then you breathe in as the head leaves the water. Yeah. So, and again, just so as you've got the progression recorded on here, and you can see this. So you can start to see how we build the stroke up. So you've done kicking on your side, you're learning to keep that lead arm high, We've done 6-1-6, introduced one stroke, and then we're putting 3 strokes in there. So we can see how it becomes more like normal swimming. Always focusing on having that lead arm high. Looks easy like that, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks very fantastic.
Yeah.
It's a lolloping sort of motion, isn't it? Doom, doom.
Yeah,
Almost
and what?
like an animal.
Yeah. And what you're seeing there is you're seeing Paul spearing and the extension
And then
of the water.
stretching,
Yeah, the extension of the water. Okay, let's get rid of that a second. So there's some drills we can work on. We can also do 6-1-6, 6-3-6 with the baton as well. So as you've done with the squad in the past with the baton. So really focusing and forcing yourself to have that arm at the front there, because you've got to have it at the front because you've got the baton hold. You've got to hold in the baton.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to swap the baton from hand to hand. Okay, let's get rid of this. Has that crashed again? Computers, eh? It normally crashes. I get it crash every now and again. It doesn't normally crash quite this often. Now, the legs and things I'm not too concerned about at the moment, because the legs splitting and there's not much of a kicking from the knee a little bit.
Much there, because I see that's when I get out of breath.
The legs will largely balance what the arms are doing. So if we can straighten up the arms,
the legs will follow.
The legs will follow. Yeah, no, absolutely. We can. That's kind of almost like stage 2. We'll worry about the legs a little bit further down the line.
It's a bit like running, isn't it? It's the other way around. Your arms seem to do what your legs are doing. Don't
Yeah,
so
no, absolutely.
You want to run faster,
Yeah.
your arms faster, your legs seem to go.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now let's just see if we can just show you this breathing. So, there's no bubbles there at all. It's the odd one coming out. Just as you turn your head to breathe, you can just see it start to come out at the last second there. Yeah. So you are just kind of breathing out and then breathing in as you turn your head.
I really feel I think I do feel better at that now.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think bubble stretch when I'm swimming. So
okay. Yeah.
I do keep that sort of mantra in my mind.
Yeah. Oh, you're breathing out a little bit there.
Yeah. I think I think I forget to breathe sometimes when I'm concentrating on something else.
Yeah, you are breathing out there. Yeah. It looks like a little bit intermittent then maybe.
Yeah.
So sink downs. So practicing the sink down drills.
Yeah.
I know you're not a massive fan of
but
that.
I think the whole problem is I'm still slightly panicky in the water.
Okay.
I'm getting a little bit better, but as soon as I feel like I'm out of my depth, that sort of panic sensation takes over.
You know, you can do those in the shallow end. You know, you don't have to do it. You don't have to do it in the deep end.
All
You can just do it in the shallow end, and rather than sinking down, 3 feet below your feet to the bottom, you can literally just rest back and just sit back in the shallow end and sit your bum on the floor in the shallow end. It doesn't quite look quite as weird as doing sink downs in a public session. It's not quite so obvious if you do it there in the shallow end. So, sink down drills to practice exhaling. Kicking on the side, 6-1-6, 6-3-6 drill to practice the alignment, the exhaling as well, and keeping that lead arm nice and high, and then repeating those with the back. Okay, so they're the main kind of things for you for now. The only other thing I wanted to kind of cover with you was this. Arguably, this could be like stage 2 as well, but I wanted to kind of cover with you now, just so as it kind of almost sows the seed in your mind of something else that we need to think about. We've talked about staying nice and straight and aligned in the water. Now what I want to talk about is what you need to do to try and get a bit more purchase on the water and get a bit more propulsion. Okay, there's not a lot of propulsion at the moment at the front of the stroke, because what you're actually doing is you're pushing straight down. Pushing straight down pushes the head up, which drops the legs down. Okay. Now, I'm going to keep this super simple because I think we've kind of covered quite a lot already. But what we want to be doing when we're taking a stroke, when we're catching the water and we're pushing back through the water, the catch and pull through, is the hand should always be the hand should always be below the wrist and below the elbow. And so you should always be trying to push water back.
Mm-hmm. My elbow's low there.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And you can see quite clearly that you're pushing down at the front of the stroke rather than pushing backwards. And you're probably not until that point where you actually start to get a little bit of backwards propulsion. So there's not a huge amount propelling you through the water. Yeah, that one's better. That one's slightly better. You're pulling through straight.
Right-sided, you see.
Yeah, you're pulling through straight. I mean, ideally we have a bit more bend in the elbow. We don't need to worry about that for now. But the main thing is we want to try and get this hand slightly tipped downwards. What I mean by that, just to show it to you. I'll show you some. I can see it there, but it's just swimming the wrong way. Let's just see if we can get her underneath there. Where's the other? There we go. So this is Cassie Patton, who's another elite level swimmer. So spearing into the water, and you see her elbow is high, fingertips down. So she's already pushing water backwards. She's very flexible, which is why she can get to this kind of shape. So imagine how much water she is now able to push in the direction of travel, pushing all that water backwards. Same thing. So this is what I'm trying to show you here, is the catch is driven by the fingertips. So a visualization for you is thinking about, imagine you've got something drawn on your hand, and we talk about having a smiley face or something drawn on your hand, and you're trying to show that smiley face to somebody standing on the back wall of the pool. They should always be able to see that hand, that face on your hand, whatever you decide to draw on your hand. They should always see that. So imagine Cassie's got something drawn on her hand there. Pushing back, pushing back, pushing back, pushing back all the time. Okay? Whereas if you had there, you're pushing down, and they're not going to see that smiley face until you get to that point. Right. There are a number of drills we can go through to kind of help you with that, and things like sculling and doggy paddle are some of them.
I quite like. I've got these yellow paddle things on my hand.
Yeah, and the agility paddles.
I feel like I'm pushing more because there's more resistance with the water with those. So when I take them off, I feel it's slightly different afterwards.
Yeah.
Until I forget again. But
so the agility paddles will be good. So if you do some work with the pool boy with the agility paddles, and all I want you to focus on, think about for now, is think about having those fingertips tip down. Okay, fingertips tip down. If you think about that, that'll naturally cause the hand to be below the wrist,
so I've stretched and then almost straight away.
So you're spearing in and down.
In and down.
So because you're not hugely flexible across the shoulders and things, so you will have to spear a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'd be forced to drop the elbow. Okay, so you spear a little bit deeper and then straight into the catch with a high elbow pushing straight back.
Okay.
All you need to think about is tipping those fingers down and then showing that palm of the hand to the back of the pool, and you'll be able to start to feel the pressure of the water.
Yes,
on
because
your
I
hand.
can't. And unless I've been using those, I can't feel that pressure.
Yeah. I think that's probably all we need to cover for now. Okay, so there's some nice good bits and bobs for you to work on. What I will do is I'll send you through a link to the Swim Smooth app. Okay, within the app there's a whole bunch of stuff, but I'll send you a link to a swim correction guide for a swim type. Do you know anything about swim types and that kind of thing? Okay, in the swim smooth swim type terminology, if you like, I classify as what you call a bambino. So bambino swimmers generally have a similar type of characteristics. So for that reason, there's I'll show you it here. There's a swim type guide which I'll give to you. And this is specific to somebody who He's a Bambino swimmer and has the kind of, all Bambinos will have similar characteristics to their stroke, similar problems with their stroke. Just trying to quickly show you some. There we go. Look, head position when breathing. Stroke rate. We haven't spoken about stroke rate. I think your stroke rate will naturally increase a little bit. It's a bit low.
It is. I love it when we do it with the timer.
Yep.
With the stroke rate. That's really great because it just keeps you going and you speed up without thinking about it.
Yeah.
I must buy one of those actually, and I can practice with that.
Well, again,
is that not a thing to do?
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I've got some notes here in stroke rate. Stroke rate is on here already. Your natural stroke rate's about 50. I think we've kind of tried up at like 55 or thereabouts just to see if we can get a bit more.
I got to 61 and it was fine.
Okay.
You know, on the
I think it's something we can experiment with.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And again, rhythm and timing, as we've spoken about. So, rhythm and timing is related to stroke rate. And then here we can see this girl here is similar to you with no support at the front end. So you can see how, here we go, there's a smiley face. So it's all the kind of stuff that we've spoken about. So it all fits in. Anyway, so I'll give you a copy of this document so you can have a read through that. And I think it's probably it for now. So there's plenty there to crack on with. You got any questions or anything?
That's great actually. It's really good to see it.
Yeah.
Because you feel you're doing things differently, but actually when you see what you're really doing, it's quite right.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And it's certainly giving you things to work on.
Yeah, good. Okay, right.
I can't wait to get in the pool.
Good. That's what we like to hear. Right, I'll switch this off then.